see her lying back in her satin dress in a room where you do what you don't confess. Sundown, you better take care.
Happy Homebrew Wednesday. And this one here, I've had so much homebrew lately, I'm gonna go non-homebrew. This is an Adroit Theory beer. It's called Dole Trophy, I don't know. It's Adroit Theory is I think it's a brewery that's around DC here somewhere. I've been meaning to go to the brewery to check it out, but they always do this awesome freaking artwork. They do some big IPAs. This one actually is a smaller one. Look at that little devil thing on there. I don't know what it is, but devil dog, or that's Marines. That's not devil dog. But this one says it goes with gives you obviously the food, cheese, and cigar pairings. It says summer sumar skirt steak with pomegranate reduction is the food that you. It's very funny. It's very specific. Cheese is Rogue Creamery Tove, and then Dan Deslitz would know what that is, I imagine. And then the cigar is Villagier La Flor de Vincent. I don't know. Gose 791. Is that the hops? I guess. Anyway, look at the specifics on that. Isn't that? Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, I think it's very funny. So anyway, let's go ahead and crack this, and then we'll have a little discussion here. Yeah, this is as you can see, it's a very, very hazy, which is not the normal Mike Dean way, but hey, this is what these guys do, and they do it really well. And that is a pretty beer. Look at that thing, man. That is very pretty. It smells very pretty. That's good. Perfect range at 8%. Before I get into the exciting news, I just got back from my bottle shop, and I'm pretty excited about some beers I got. I guess there was this drop that happened today from, what's the brewery here? Ode? Hell, I don't know. I don't know what brewery it is, but these beers are lambics, and every time I've had a lambic, it's not something I normally regularly drink, but every time I have one, I really, really love it. And so I picked some up. The first one is called Myrtil Tilquin, I guess. It's a Belgian lambic ale brewed with wild blueberries. So there's that one. And then this one is Cassis Tilquin. Traditional Belgian lambic ale brewed with black kraut. So there's that one. So anytime you get a beer that puts these kind of tops on, it's going to be badass, right? So I got those two. Then I got this beer here from a place called Plan B, and I would ask Josh Secor if you're watching. I remember during NHC in Portland, we went to one of the breweries, and this guy I remember he was filling up your water jug with beer. But it was like some brewery that was, I thought maybe it was upstate New York, and they had they were like in a farmhouse or a barn or something like that. I don't know if you remember, Josh, but they were describing this beer that came in, and it reminded me, this is a Plan B. It's from Plan B. This is the brewery. I don't know if that's the same brewery. That's what I'm going to ask you, Josh. It is a Carnival Wild Ale, and it's got a B on it, so I'm assuming there's some kind of honey involved. But anyway, this thing looked really interesting too, so I'm kind of on a sour kick today. This is going to be 6.3%. Yeah, it's in Poughkeepsie, I can't read this. Poughkeepsie, New York. And I guess this guy only works like 2 days a week in his brewery. I'm thinking it was Plan B. I could be wrong. Then I got this beer here. My wife's going to see the bank account later. I got this beer here. It's called Nightmare. I've never had one from these guys before, I don't think. This is a Looks like they're from Boston. Yeah, these guys are from Boston, but it's called Nightmare Brewing. And this beer here is like a triple IPA. This is a 10.5% ABV. It's called Blowing from a Gun, a double India Pale Ale with Indian cane sugar, I can't read this, quadruple dry hopped with Eldorado, Calypso, Cashmere, Mosaic, and whole melon hops. So this one looks really cool, from Nightmare Brewing, Blowing from a Gun. So that's that one. The guys put this in my hand and said, you want this? So who am I to say no? And then my old faithful standby, nice West Coast Racer 5. So, all right, I'm gonna take a sip and wet my whistle here and we'll talk about the good stuff. Okay, I think there's gonna be maybe a couple of clips here for some brew day footage. I did a brewed a beer on Saturday. And this was a really cool beer. It is I don't know if I talked about it in the last video, but this is a collab beer that I'm doing with Matthew from Rec Brewery. If you haven't been to his channel, go check it out. If I remember, I'll put it down in the description. But and Matthew was also one of the 2 hubs in the SJ Pour Challenge Round 2. Anyway, he reached out to me and we decided to do a collab beer. So we came up with a Gose, because neither of us have brewed a Gose before. But I'm finding I like Goses a lot. Kind of weird that I waited until just as it's starting to get cold to brew a Gose, but this is we're calling it Gose Cuervo. At least that's the name I'm giving it. I don't know if Matt's gonna go with the same name, but it's probably a traditional type Gose base recipe with a little bit more than half of malted wheat, and then a little less than half of Pilsner, and then some other flakes or some other malt thrown in to kind of round it out. And then for hops, we used Sriracha Ace, and I forgot the most important part of the malt bill. 2 pounds. At least I used 2 pounds. I think Matthew might have used a little bit less because his water is different. His water profile is different than mine. But 2 pounds. I used 2 pounds of sour malt or acidulated malt. So that got the pH down to. I was looking for. I can't remember what my target was, but I ended up around 4.3 pH into the kettle. I wouldn't have tested it normally. I have a pH meter, but I don't normally break it out and use it because it's kind of a pain. And I actually realized I need to go get some more calibration or soaking fluid for mine so I don't ruin it. But I measured it and it was 4.3, which is, and I tasted it and it was about what I wanted. It was about the color I wanted. It's this beer, we're trying to make it like a margarita. All right, we're trying to mimic a margarita. So this Gose, I want it to be like sipping a margarita by the ocean side. That's the intent. So obviously I put some sea salt in it late in the boil. The 2 hops, Sriracha Ace, and what was the other one we used? Motueka. So I wanted a lemon lime, type of essence to go along with the slight tartness from the sour malt, and then all the wheat. I think in the IBUs, I put all of the malts in the whirlpool after I lowered it to 180, and I was only looking for about 5 to 10 IBUs, somewhere in there. And I think from tasting the sample, it's going to be perfect, I think. So that thing is fermenting. We used a German Kolsch type yeast. I used Imperial, I forget what it's called, Dieter or whatever it is, GO3 or something. So it's, so anyway, I'll put some video here if I have it and some photos. Okay, so on this Gose recipe, I'm supposed to put the sour malt in, 2 pounds, in the last 15 minutes of the mash, or an additional 15 minutes after the hour mash. So best thing I can think of, this isn't PBW, I cleaned out this PBW jar, and it just so happens it perfectly fits 2 pounds of crushed grain. So here's my 2 ounces of acid malt. Okay, happy Homebrew Wednesday. So doing my first ever Gose. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've looked it up, Gose. I'm going to call it Gose Cuervo. This is a collaboration brew I'm doing with Matt Morris from Rec Brewery. So Matt and I came up with this. We wanted to do a collaboration beer. I know he just did one with Wally, and they're fun. If you haven't done a collaboration beer, it's kind of cool. You each kind of get a piece of developing the recipe. So the thought is we're going to try to do a Gose that makes you, at least in my mind, reminiscent of sipping a margarita by the ocean side. So a little bit of sourness, a little bit of sweetness. Gotta have tequila. So we have some things to make it taste like tequila. We got some agave. We got some essence of tequila. And then obviously we got to get it sour with the sour malt. And I think I might add a little bit of citric acid based on the homebrew store when I go to keg it. So anyway, first time I'm doing a Gose, so I'm mashing in right now. I'm going to mash it. The mash is going to be about 149 degrees, just based on a lot of Gose recipes. That seems to be the right temperature to use. Matt's getting all into the water chemistry and pH and all that. I'm more of a kind of artsy kind of guy when it comes to recipe development. So it'll be fun to taste each other's recipes when we're done. So cheers. Okay, my mash in. I wasn't too far off. I was at 140. The good thing about having a EBC is you dial up the temperature and it starts circulating through and it gets back up really, really quickly. So that's cool. You can see it's already starting to climb. There at 145. Should go to 146. Come on, yeah. What are you doing? Let's go. There you go. All right. So yeah, you see how it works. Okay, I know this is going to be interesting. This is my first runnings. I don't care if I'm going to use the fast ferment because I don't care if it's a clear beer, and it probably shouldn't be because it's going to look like a margarita. It kind of looks like a margarita going in here. So, but the runoff gravity was only 1072, so this is going to be a tough one to get all the volume that I want. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, so back. All right. So this is interesting. First Gose I've done. We used 2 pounds of sour malt, acidulated malt, whatever you want to call it. And we got at least I got the pH to 4.3. I don't normally measure pH, but since we are kind of sour, and I figured I'd kind of curious what the measurements are going in. I have to go back and look at my notes, but I think 4.3 is kind of in the range we wanted, and it tastes really good. So cool thing is the sparge going in, sorry about the finger, the sparge going in looks just like a margarita. So I think it's gonna be what we want. We'll see. All right, here I am. I'm at the last gallon. I'm just about there. I don't know if you can see that, but man, I suck at doing this. I don't know how you guys do this, but I think I'm at like 10. Anyway, I think I'm at like 10, 13 or something. Okay, so this is turning out to be one of the best brew days ever. This Gose, I was a little worried because the runoff gravity started at like 1071, 1072. And normally when I have a runoff gravity that's like 1083 and higher, it's hard to get 7 1/4 gallons into my boil kettle and still remain above 1010 on the sparge. I started out at 1071, 1072. I'm down to like 1013, and I've only got just a little under, just like maybe 1/8 of a gallon left, and I'll be at 7 1/4. Yeah, actually I'm almost there right now, so I'm gonna have to like cut this short. But anyway, the beer looks like a margarita. It tastes like a margarita. It's got that nice twang to it that I wanted. I still get to boil and add coriander seeds and salt and agave nectar. Man, I'm so looking. This is a freaking cool beer. I don't know why I haven't brewed a Gose before. Anyway, cheers. Can you smell the margarita? Okay, final step. My final gravity was 1055. I was shooting for 1054, so I'll call that a day. And here we go. This is the Imperial German Ale yeast. And into the fast ferment. Cheers, boys. So yeah, that thing is going along just fine, and can't wait to check the gravity on that and taste and see what it's like. When I'm done, I also put some agave nectar in at the end of the boil, and I'm gonna put in some essence of tequila. They sell this little stuff called essence of tequila. I think people that use pure grain alcohol will pour some of that in there to make it taste like a margarita. So I'm gonna put that in the beer when I go to keg it. So just a one bottle, because I don't want to go overboard, because I don't know what it's going to do. So, knock on the maple. Hope it turns out well. I think it's going to, based on the sample. So now, SJ Pour Challenge results came out, and I am on freaking cloud nine. Did really well in my hub, so I'm moving forward to the third round. There's going to be 6 of us, I guess. The top 3 from each of the 2 remaining hubs will kind of go together. I guess I'll wait for the instructions and see what happens. Man, I tasted obviously half of the beers that are going to be in this final, and they're good. They're really good. So I haven't tasted the ones on the other hub. So this is going to be like my season watching the Washington Nationals. We started out the season 19-31, so it was like nail biting the whole season. When we thought we were done, then they kept coming back, and then you saw what happened in the playoffs, and then in the final game they had lost 3 games in a row, and we thought it was over. And it was just always a nail biter. That's what this final round is going to be like. I am so freaking happy that I did so well in the challenge. This thing has been so much fun this year. I mean, and fun just because, in past years I like screwed up, I got something contaminated or something, I didn't pick a good, recipe to go forward, and I think I picked a really good recipe this year to push forward, and everything's looking great. Regardless of what happens now, I'm just so thankful and so happy to be in the final round. And for those that didn't make it, I know there was a couple of beers that didn't make it because they had some mishaps, I think with, either shipping or whatever, and it's very unfortunate, and I know what it feels like. That's, happened to me before. But anyway, yeah, I am just, I don't know if I've had a perma smile on my face like ever since the results were announced, and I'm just so, yeah, like I said, I'm beaming right now. I'm beside myself with happiness and excitement. So anyway, that is my Homebrew Wednesday for this week, and can't wait for these lambics to chill down. Oh. My round 3 is already brewed and kegged and ready to bottle. I'll probably be doing that this weekend. I haven't seen the email, but we should be shipping those things off soon. So to my fellow competitors that are still in, that may be watching this, good luck. I hope you don't beat me. Now that it's the final round, I hope you don't beat me. But good luck, and I look forward to tasting y'all's beers. And oh, by the way, this is a receipt from my local parcel shop. So I did it real fast, so you couldn't zoom in and get people's addresses. But I did a significant beer drop. So some of you folks will be receiving some surprises this week, I would imagine. So anyway, hey, cheers. Have yourself a happy homebrew, and have a very, very happy Homebrew Wednesday.